All right, shot. I'm gonna spotlight you immediately because as soon as we're live, you
Mm.
can go on ahead and get started. And we are live.
Good evening, brothers, family, friends, and community members. Welcome back to the Impact 1914 YouTube channel. And thank you for joining us throughout our incredible launch week. Over the past 2 nights, we had powerful conversations with Brother Mike Harvey on the Big Black Spin Initiative and with our newly elected International Director of Bigger and Better Business, Brother Charles Jones. Tonight, as we close our launch week, we are honored to be joined with Honorable Brother Nigel Coelho, the 28th Eastern Regional Director of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. This channel continues to be our official home for the Eastern Region Bigger and Better Business virtual events in partnership with the Impact 1914 team, and a library of resources designed to keep our members and community connected, educated, and empowered. At this time, I'll pass the mic to our host tonight, Brother Rashon M. Howard.
Thank you so much, Brother Rivers, and you continue to be a stalwart on the BBB team as the chair of our media and content. Man, I am so excited. I am super excited about this conversation that we are going to be having today with our very own, the Honorable Brother Nigel Coelho, our 28th Eastern Regional Director, who really exudes and has BBB in his blood all over the place. So I hope you feel at home, Honorable Brother Coelho. Talk to us for a minute.
No, I do, Brother Howard, and good evening to you, and good evening to everybody that's listening to this and has been following you all week. Yeah, I mean, guys know BBB. People that know me know bigger and better business has always been my passion. It's where I've grown up in Sigma, locally, regionally. Yeah, just really excited to be here and to support your vision and the team's vision, the Impact 1914 vision, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Let's get into it. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, speaking of vision, we're going to start with the One East vision, and the your amazing leadership. I continue to have conversations about how this board is really starting to get on the roll. As we are marching into ERC 2026 and just the work that everyone on this board is doing. And it's so vitally important that we continue to support our state leadership, our state team, our
Yeah,
local leadership, our
yeah.
local brothers when it comes to being able to give that same level of programming, of success for their communities and for the brotherhood that they are serving as well. So, Brother RD, as a past program director, as a past state director, as a past chapter president, can you talk about how important chapter programming efficiency is?
Yeah, no, great question, Rashon. I mean, listen, when I think about really the structure of our fraternity, right? And I've always been very consistent in this. I feel that the organization's, different layers and different levers each have a specific responsibility to success of the fraternity, right? The international leadership and the international body in partnership, our general board in partnership with our international headquarters, they have a responsibility to support the membership through membership services, through the execution of, the what they call affectionately the brotherhood experience, right? And the general board's challenge and goal is really to move the strategic plan of the fraternity that they're empowered to act on by the conclave forward. At the regional level, I've always felt that our responsibility is to support the local levels by making sure that administratively and fundamentally our chapters are in a position to be strong, right? Now, when we talk about the execution of programming, that's where the chapters come into play. Because again, it's really in those local communities that we all live and serve. You and the Brothers of New Sigma in Philadelphia, my chapter here in Northern New Jersey, all the amazing brothers that we saw this past weekend from Virginia, the District of Columbia, and Maryland, all independently in their own communities, in their own spheres and circles of influence. That's where the real programming and execution takes place, whether it's, voter registration drives, whether it's, addressing gun violence, mentorship through our Sigma Beta clubs, scholarships, supporting Black businesses, which is a pillar of the BBB programming.
Definitely.
So all those pieces really are executed fundamentally at the chapter level. We can set the narrative and really as regional leadership, I've always believed our fundamental responsibility is to make sure that our chapters are given the tools to be able to execute from an administrative perspective. That's why we take the time to train like we did it this past weekend's area meeting and all the future area meetings so that our chapters are fundamentally sound, because if they're not fundamentally sound, then they can't execute on those programs. So that's
Hmm.
where, to me, the synergy has always been when it comes to how the leadership in multiple layers serves the local chapters and provides the local chapters the tools necessary to be successful in executing and implementing the programs.
Awesome, awesome. Speaking of tools, um, you know, our vice director, brother Ben Austin, with the chapter playbook, right?
Right,
What an amazing tool that is. And again, looking at the 28th administration in the Eastern region, the tools that the team continually will be supplying and is supplying for the
right.
membership. Brothers, if you haven't heard all week, we will be starting next Tuesday, First Tuesdays, which is a program and chapter developmental series around the tools and resources for efficient programming
That's
that
correct.
honorable brother Coelho just talked about,
That's
right?
correct.
And honorable brother Coelho, thank you for continuing to use your platform, to use area meetings, to use state meetings, to use conferences to ensure that the brotherhood has what they need so we can do what we need to do on a local level. And one thing I can say is we definitely feel it here in Philadelphia. And one of the things that we're going to talk about during First Tuesdays, I believe that's probably our February session, is amplifying the work that we are doing. There's a
Right.
lot of brothers doing a lot of great work in the Eastern region, but it's
Yeah.
not being amplified.
Right. Right.
28, talk about the importance of amplification when it
Yeah.
comes to great programming.
Yeah, no, that's so true, man. And Rashon, you hit the nail on the head, right? For those and all of us, I don't care if you've been in the organization for, a few short weeks, months, or if you've been in it, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. The one consistent thing I always say about Men of Sigma is our one big Achilles heel. We don't promote ourselves. Like we don't promote ourselves enough. We about the work. We're not big into self-promotion, and really truly I say even for me personally, like brothers hear me say that, like, bro, I don't care about these titles. Like y'all can keep these titles. Like titles to me, my most important title is brother. So we have never done a great job at that. But the reality is, if we don't tell our narrative and we don't tell our story, somebody else is going to tell that story for us,
Mhm.
right? They trying to tell a certain story now in the White House
Mm,
about us and people that look like us, right? And
mm,
if we're not careful, that story, that rewriting of history, they're going to be successful at it. So if you don't tell your story, your narrative becomes the other folks' narrative. We
mhm.
have to provide brothers the tools necessary and help brothers to understand why it's so important to tell your story. When I talk about telling your story, I'm talking about at every level. Social media is really where it starts and ends, right? I mean, it has to begin there. And just being very intentional. Even the things I post on social media, like I'm very intentional about, what I put
Yes.
out and the stories I put out
You're
on
getting
social
pretty good at
media.
putting them reels together too, brother
Oh,
RD.
listen, man, listen, and listen. I'm not gonna lie. That is not a strong suit of mine. But I got some brothers around me that have really taught me well. That I've watched. And have kind of shown me. My Sands is one of them. Brother Wood Janabu has always been great at that. So I kind of learn and steal and borrow little things from him. I watch like the great job that you do, and shouts to our amazing, publicity team and our
Oh
publicity
man, yes.
director, Brother Ewings. I can't sing Dave's, praises enough, just
Agreed.
for how I mean, this latest Our Cause magazine, and let me be clear, it ain't a newsletter, folks. It's a
Beautiful.
full-fledged magazine.
Beautiful.
It very nearly rivals, our Crescent magazine in terms of the quality of that. Of that document of that magazine. So again, that's how you really tell your story and you tell that narrative. And that's important. And our chapters like you said, our chapters do such great work, but we don't always do the best job of telling our story. So if we can
Mhm.
help brothers through the training webinars that our program directors are putting together to understand that how you tell the story is as much of a part of the narrative as how you execute on the programming. And
Yes.
let's be clear, programming drives membership. I mean, You may not have heard, maybe you didn't hear that before, but you hear it here first, right? Programming drives membership. You show me a chapter that executes on programming continuously.
Mhm.
I'll show you a chapter that has no problem recruiting. I'll show you a chapter that has no problem keeping brothers engaged. And I'll show you a chapter that has no problem keeping brothers active. Because understand, membership is not just about, going out and recruiting members. It's about keeping the members that you have and the brothers that you have engaged at all times, in spite of how busy all our lives and schedules are. So, and a lot of that starts with how we program as local chapters, what we program, and how we cater that programming to fit the needs of the communities that we all live in. So, yeah, big fan of it. And again, just very thankful to the team really for buying into it, because that's a big part of what One East is really all about. Again, providing chapters the tools for their ongoing success.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of the topics that I keep touching on all week is leadership, and I have to touch on that topic. You got two Sigma Leadership Academy brothers here. Yourself as being one who helped lead a cohort in the
Yeah,
recent past of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And when you talk about programming driving membership,
yeah,
one of the aspects of that as a local leader, as a
yeah,
state leader, is understanding where brothers fit. Right?
right,
We're on the BBB platform right now, but we also have social action, we have education, we have
right,
Sigma Beta, right?
right,
We have a plethora of different initiatives. Brothers have different passions.
right,
And as
right.
we are looking to bring brothers back in the fold, get brothers off the bench, right?
Mhm.
We as leaders have to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I need to pick up the phone. I need to have a conversation. I need to be open to going down the roster and finding out where does this brother like to work. I have
That's
to
right.
give you
That's
credit.
right.
I'm gonna say it on this public forum. Brother RD, you and two or three other people cornered me at a conference about 4 years ago because you saw my passion for a
Hmm.
specific area.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
had a conversation with me about that passion.
right.
And that conversation led to where we are right now in these seats, and
Yeah,
me being under your administration
right.
as the Eastern Regional Director of Bigger and Better Business. Imagine if our state directors, our vice state directors, our chapter presidents, vice presidents were doing those things on a consistent basis
Yeah,
locally, how much more active our brotherhood would be,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it's not just about the brothers who aren't financial who we need to get off the bench. It's
yeah.
about the brothers who are financial who we need
Mhm.
to get off the bench too.
That's right. That's
Because
very true.
you know the saying, only 10% of the chapter actually does 100% of the work,
Right,
right?
right.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
well,
very
maybe
true.
we can get that up to 20-25% after we're done this first Tuesday series where we
Yeah,
talk about
yeah,
efficient programming. Because
yeah.
a lot of that has to do with the organization and the
Right.
communication around the programming.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
too many times we're doing spontaneous programming
You're
in
right.
in our chapters
Yeah,
and
yeah.
don't give the brotherhood enough time to really hone in and enjoy that. So speak to that a little bit, brother RD.
No, you're absolutely right. And I'll say this too, brothers go through different phases in life, right? And I think one of the key areas, one of the key things that's important for us to do, particularly as predominantly African American men or black and brown men, right, is it never pays to judge. Sometimes life happens, right? And as heads of our households, cornerstones in our careers, leaders in our churches, leaders in our communities, sometimes all the pieces don't fit, right?
Mhm.
And brothers may have different levels of time and commitment to dedicate to Sigma. I tell people my story, and I've never been quiet or silent about it. I took a break away, not from Sigma, but I took a break away from regional leadership for a period of about 10 to 12 years, right? I was on the board in the late 90s, into the early 2000s. And then I started a family. My wife and I, we started a family. And I took a necessary break from regional leadership and doing things at a high level because I really want to dedicate that time to my family, right? I had two young children, Justin and Brooke, that we were raising together, and career was starting to take off. Signal was always going to be there, right? But too many times and too often times I see where, young brothers and not so young brothers sometimes have this thing where they put, elevating in Sigma above anything and everything else. And no one's saying that you have to do that, right? But it's about finding the Sigma that fits into your life and into your lifestyle. The thing I love to see the most is fathers who start getting engaged in a Sigma Beta club because their
Mm.
sons get to that age, right?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I was more engaged as a Sigma Beta Club advisor when Justin was a part of Sigma Beta Club. It was just natural. I was taking them to the meetings anyway, so I might as well, help with all the amazing trips that the Sigma Beta Club has taken and everything, right? And my wife did the same with Brooke with the Amiquettes, Arcanettes, Pearlettes, for all those years. So to me, again, it's about finding, and your passions are going to change through the years, and sometimes if you lead with that family piece, it makes the service with Sigma so much easier, right? So, I try never to judge brothers for their level of engagement because you never know what a brother is dealing with outside of the fraternity, right? But what I also caution brothers is don't ever put, trying to get titles or accolades in this
Mm.
thing of ours ahead of those important family or professional goals and structures that you have, because then your priorities are out of order, right? But with that being said, you can, every brother, even the ones that don't have the time, can find the space to contribute something to the better good of a chapter or the community in which they serve. We all got passions. We all have things that motivate us, that piss us off when we see them, or that we want to change, right? So yeah, you just got to help brothers to find that space. And again, the successful chapters are the ones that are able to do that and do that on multiple levels. That way you keep the brothers in your chapter engaged. And that's what we try to teach, through from the regional leadership, through the great program directors like yourself, Brother Stith and Dr. Hall. We try to teach the chapters about the right ways to recruit, who to recruit, how to recruit. That's what you hear from our vice director. We make sure you have the administrative pillars in order. We try to
Yes.
help you understand and know how to market and promote now what you do. That's what this regional team is all about. And I'm just so godly thankful to have amazing partners on this regional board. Because again, Nigel can't do all this work by myself, right? There's a saying: if you're leading and no one's following, you just out for a walk, right? Well, I'm proud to say that I'm not walking alone. I'm walking with a great team of leaders each in their own right, who have really bought into this notion. I'm just very honored and humbled to serve with all of you brothers.
Yeah, yeah, same, brother RD. And I'm gonna go back a little bit, and I'm going to give some more praise to our director of publicity because probably second to you being on his phone, I'm probably right under you, bothering him over and over again. As every time we get on our bi-weekly call, he reminds the
Yeah,
board that
yeah,
Rashon had
yeah.
made 50 million more requests.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. Listen, that's the thing I love about our whole team, right? Like we push each other and yeah, we make a lot of demands of one another, but I never hear a curt or tense word between members of this team because I think in many ways we all love like I enjoy being around this regional leadership. And I'm not just talking about just the elected members of the board, but the appointed officers, our amazing area directors, my admin team, whose nerves I absolutely get on constantly. Just this really, it's really great to see kind of the space that brothers exist in. That's what fellowship and true brotherhood is all about. That's what being passionate and having different passions are all about. Let me tell you, man, Terrence Gibson, right? Our
Mhm.
past international director of Bigger and Better Business. And shouts to him, shouts to our newly elected international director, Brother Jones, who I had the privilege of serving as fellow regional directors with, just here right up until conclave. But, that's where Terrence and Ma's relationship started some
Mhm.
years ago, as fellow regional directors of Bigger and Better Business when Reggie Slush was the international director of Bigger and Better Business at the time. But it's really being like-minded and being focused on this thing called servant leadership. Like Terrence was so passionate, I was passionate, and we just developed a friend. We didn't know each other from a can of paint, right? Until we were serving as fellow regional directors of Bigger and Better Business. And I think about that now, and I fast forward here now 10 years later, and I can truly count, Terrence Gibson as not just a brother that I enjoy serving with, but as a friend, right? Because we're very just like-minded in that way. Like it's about the membership and about
Mhm.
servicing and serving the brothers. That's what true leadership is all about. So, Again, just very thankful to be on this platform. Hopefully, motivating brothers to get engaged. Because listen, if there's a brother out there that's listening to this right now, and maybe you're not active or you are financial, but you're just not sure where you fit in your chapter, I can just offer you the encouragement. Like you have a space. Like every brother has a space
Yes.
of making this thing work. I don't care what your passion is. I don't care what your beliefs are. Any of that. Like there's nothing holding you back but you, right?
Yep.
Sigma needs brothers to be active and engaged, particularly right now, because I don't
Amen.
know about y'all, man, but I can't even watch the news without getting sick to my stomach, you know. And I know we're supposed to be apolitical out here, but let's just keep
Man,
it real. They not like us. They don't care about us. They not interested in us. They not interested in the things that benefit our communities and people that look, feel, and sound like us every single day. So when I see what's going on out here, it just makes me even more focused on the fact that these communities need Phi Beta Sigma. They
yeah.
need our D9 partners. They need all of us to be working, in collaboration to really have an impact in these communities, and not just D9, but NAACP, Urban League, all of our Black and Brown organizations, our churches. It's time to get off the bench and time to really be about this work.
Listen,
Um,
listen.
and if people don't understand that, if they don't understand what's going on out here right now, and how they are literally trying to rewrite history, they're trying to tell us that slavery wasn't so bad.
Mm.
That's what they're doing. So when you see these things, if it doesn't motivate you, then frankly, I don't know how to motivate you. If that don't motivate you, maybe I can motivate you, and that's why we're here tonight. Trying to tell
That's the
brothers.
hope, right? That's the
Yeah,
hope.
listen, man, that's the hope. That's just the prayer, good brother. Absolutely.
And so think about what you just said, and under the East mantra, I say to my area coordinators at BBB all the time, it's not about individual program, but group program is just as big and just as important and
Yeah.
just as impactful. We have so many chapters that share our, co-mingle our, some chapters are on top of each other, right?
Right.
Some
Right.
chapters share a street, right?
Right. Right.
Let
Yeah.
alone a county or
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
state or an area,
Yep.
right? And if only 10% of each chapter is doing 100% of the work, imagine if two or three or four chapters came together to do 100% of the work, how much more impactful that would be. The different voices, the different
Yeah.
forms of inspiration to really bring us together. Because, brother RD, you are right. In a time like this, whether it be bigger and better business, social action, or education, every single aspect of our programming, every single aspect of what this fraternity, of what the divine non-fraternities and sororities, of what our churches, every single part of what they do is so needed now. Even
It
if it's just
is.
to give us a laugh or
Right.
a sense of hope, a
Sense of
resource
belief.
that may not
Yeah.
be out there for others.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and transitioning, that's where I feel Brother Gibson really did good at when it came to inspiring and giving
Yeah.
hope. Talk a little bit about, especially because you had opportunity to work closely with him in multiple different capacities, about
Mhm.
how he elevated the bigger and better business program, and how you see Brother Jones being able to take that mantle and move that forward.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say this all the time. Like Sigma makes no mistakes. When we select our leadership, I believe as a fraternity we're blessed because we don't make mistakes, right? We get it right. And I believe we select on multiple levels the right leaders in the right spaces at the right time. Understanding that everybody's different, right? When I think about our international presidents, I believe David Turner is the right president for this time. I believe Chris Ray was the right president for that time. I believe Michael Crystal was the right president for that time. Jonathan Mason was the right guy to be the centennial president, right? Jimmy Hammock, and we can go back and back and back.
Mhm.
Same thing with bigger and better business. I believe that Terrence, that Reginald Slush was the right director of bigger and better business at the time because he helped a group that didn't know one another to learn how to collaborate and to work together towards a common goal. Terrence Gibson was the right bigger and better business leader at the time because he took us through a time coming out of COVID, remember,
Mhm.
right? where what we
Mm-hmm.
really needed was a positive influence and a positive vibe with all the negativity that we were dealing with. And he really made Black spend the cornerstone of that promotion. And look at what it's grown to today. And honestly, even with that, it's just getting started, right?
Yeah.
And now I look at a guy like Charles Jones, a brother who, as I mentioned at the onset, who I know very, very well. I consider Charles to be a friend, not just because we've served together, but because of his professional background, right? Like I consider Charles a professional peer, somebody who I look to and respect because of his many years of professional success in the supply chain industry, both as an operational leader and as a human resources leader, and now as an entrepreneur with a successful business, successful author. I've read pretty much all of his books. I mean, the brother, and I've said this to Charles personally. The thing I love about what he's done and who he's built, how he's built this narrative is Charles is very open and honest in his writings about, who he is, his
Yep.
journey, his struggles personally and professionally, right? That's how you know somebody's uber confident and wants to really share and bring somebody up and pull somebody up because he doesn't just share his wins, he shares his losses too. He shares his
Mm.
struggles
Sure
in his
does.
writing. So that's why I believe he's the right bigger and better business director for this time because I believe he'll continue to build on what those who came before him started and take the bigger and better business program to even new heights. And again, the stronger our programming is, the stronger we grow and the stronger our membership development programs are
The
as a
message of the
fraternity.
day.
So that's one of the key pillars to the success of this organization. I know that from a bigger and better business perspective, we're in very good hands. Not just with Charles' leadership as an international director of bigger and better business, but with the incredible team of BBB leaders
Mm.
that we have we have around the country, present and past. And you had you had my boy on the other night. It was a past bigger and better business
Yeah,
director.
brother Harvey, man, that was a good
And
combo.
Mike, yeah, Mike is a prime example of that, right? Mike was an amazing Southwestern Regional Director of Bigger and Better Business in his time, and still is an incredible support and contributor to that program. So I think the BBB program is in great hands. As a past BBB leader myself, I always get very excited when I see that because them other two programs are great, but friendly competition is wonderful. People, listen, as an organization, we got social action coming out of our ears, right? It's who
Yes,
we are.
that's
We are
true.
the fraternity of John Lewis and A. Philip Randolph, right? Scholarship, I mean, listen, man, there are no stronger example of Black male educators than the men of Phi Beta Sigma, right?
Yes,
And not
yes.
just in what we do in these educational spaces, but in the scholarships that we provide and the mentorship we provide. BBB is that one area where I think we have a huge opportunity to grow our footprint and to show the world what our Black dollars really mean,
Mm.
what our entrepreneurial spirit really is about. Nobody's ever given people of color anything in this country.
Nope.
Everything we've got, we've earned it. And that's part of what the BBB narrative and story, in my opinion, has always been about. It's what Billboard Jackson is about. It's what Black spend is about. Listen, you take the Black dollars, and this is the part we forget. You take the Black dollars out of this economy, we're in a
Mm.
recession right now.
Yes,
And if
we
you don't
are.
believe me, you just go check the numbers, right?
Yes, we
And
are.
and and even that fool in the White House, he don't
Target
want to
can tell
admit
you
that, but that's the
$12.4
truth.
billion dollars worth.
That's correct. That's correct. So they can talk all they tough talk and all they bloviating all they want, right? You take Black dollars out of this economy, and this country is going to look and feel a whole lot different. Them 401(k) package is going to be worth a whole lot less. So
Hmm.
it's time, I think, that we as a people really understand what our true power and what our true impact and our influence really can be.
Absolutely.
And that's what the BBB program, I believe, can grow into the more we promote things like that Black Spend Initiative and our Black dollars.
Great message, brother RD. And as we work towards closing up, we got a conference coming up. We got a conference coming up. And
Yeah,
I am ecstatic and excited that we are going to be in Norfolk, Virginia.
yeah,
Had a ball down there this
yeah,
past weekend. And if that's going any secret or any tell of what it's going to be like in a
yeah,
couple months,
yeah.
man. So as we close up, brother RD, tell us a little bit about, what we can expect in the Eastern region leading to ERC 2026.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Brother Howard, and just appreciated spending this time with you tonight and with the folks out there that are watching. Yeah, we're just very excited about ERC 26, April 16th through the 19th, 2026, Norfolk, Virginia. Yeah, again, had a chance to be in Norfolk this past weekend with the area meeting one brothers of Virginia, DC, and Maryland, and we were intentional. We wanted to move that area meeting to Norfolk. I know my Virginia area director, Brother G, probably want to strangle me right now because we really did kind of voluntold him that that's where we wanted the area meeting to be. But it was intentionality in that because we wanted. It's been you realize I said this to brothers this weekend. We haven't had an Eastern Regional Conference in the Hampton Roads area since the late '80s when we
Mm,
were in Virginia Beach. So
mm.
to me, it was about helping brothers to get re-engaged and refamiliarized with the Hampton Roads, with the Seven Cities area, right? In particular with the city of Norfolk. And I think we helped to do that this weekend. I'm very confident this is going to be the largest regional conference that we've ever had in the history
Yes,
of this
sir.
region.
Yes,
We're
sir.
gonna we're gonna speak it into existence. We're gonna recognize our military brothers. We're gonna recognize our collegiate brothers. Amazing group of collegiate brothers, not just in the Hampton Roads area, but in this region that we're gonna recognize. And again, we're Eastern Regional Conference 26 is going to be a stepping stone because keep in mind, 15, 16 months later, we got a conclave coming to the Eastern region as well that we're very excited to see all the brothers from across the country coming to National Harbor in the summer of 27. So just really, really excited about ERC 26. Looking forward to this journey. We're going to be promoting the same message when we're in Westchester University in a couple of weeks for area meeting 2, when we're in Albany for area meeting 3. And then as we get into 2026, we just announced that we have our Founders Day celebration with our sorors of Zeta Phi Beta, the
I
Atlantic
love
region,
it.
coming up in January. And then before you know it, we'll be at the ERC 26. So we're just very, very excited about everything that's coming, and also excited to continue to serve and support, this region as a member of this general board. Several of my regional director counterparts are coming out of office this spring. I believe likely I'll probably be what they call chair of the Regional Directors Council here in the spring, because I think there's going to be 5 new regions. There's one now, and then there's 4 more that are coming out in the spring. So just really looking forward to all the opportunities to continue to serve the brothers and continue to serve this region and to really represent this region at the highest levels of the fraternity. It's a privilege to be the Eastern Regional Director, and I definitely don't take it lightly.
We're lucky and excited to have you, brother RD, and we thank you for taking time out of your schedule this evening to spend some time with us on the Impact 1914 platform and sharing your passion for bigger and better business. With that being said, we are going to pass it to brother Arshad Rivers to close this out. You on mute, brother Rivers? No, we can't. We lost you.
Yeah,
Better.
There we
there
go.
you
Now
go.
we got you.
There we go. All right. Nothing like a good little bit of technical difficulties for type nights like this. But no, thank you guys, everyone, for joining us tonight. Special thank you to Honorable Brother Nigel Coelho for closing out our Impact 1914 live launch week. Before we go, remember, we are beginning our first Tuesdays development series on Tuesday, October 7th, with a series on partnership and sponsorship. And on Thursday, October 9th, we'll be hosting our BBB Town Hall, an important opportunity for discussion and major announcements. Head to impact1914.org to register for both events and submit your questions for Town Hall. We look forward to seeing you there. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming Impact 1914 programs. Thank you, guys.
Oh, we appreciate it. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. Hit that subscribe button, share this video, and we will see you next Tuesday. Thank you, Brother Rivers. Thank you, Honorable Brother Coelho. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, brothers.